Well, the Community Foundation of North Central Washington is a grant-making machine for the region, raising and distributing money to help local nonprofits meet their budget and carry out projects. The foundation turns 40 years old this year. In 2025 alone, it passed out more than $514,000 from its Legacy Fund grant program to charity operations up and down the Columbia River in Chelan, Douglas, and Okanagan counties. In tonight's features story, Executive Director Beth Stipe spoke with Dan Kuntz on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley about her funding programs are organized.
There's kind of a two-pronged approach to how the funds happen for our Legacy Fund grant-making program. And that is unrestricted funds that come to the Community Foundation, and then restricted funds that come through our Founder Circle for each of the individual community legacy funds. So we have legacy funds in all of the, I would say, major areas of North Central Washington: Waterville, Mansfield, Okanagan Valley, Methow Valley, Cashmere, Upper Valley,
basically
Wenatchee
outside
Valley,
of Wenatchee Valley.
Chelan Valley.
Right, okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So all of the communities have their dedicated legacy fund where volunteers from that area do a 3-year term that they come in and they go out and do all of the site visits along with a trustee from the Community Foundation as well as staff from the Community Foundation. They visit with all of these organizations, and then they have this budget that they have to deal with and to make those difficult decisions on how to allocate those funds. And as an example, the Wenatchee Valley Local Advisory Board had to do almost 60 site visits, and they had to determine out of those 60 organizations where they could fund their roughly $300,000. That's a lot of those are a lot of organizations to have to consider and to make those difficult decisions, because we just don't have the funding to meet every need.
And the volunteers are not only good people, but they have a lot of common sense.
Yes.
They know if maybe something that wasn't quite on the up and up, that we're going to do a little homework here.
Yes, and the Community Foundation also offers support for those, oftentimes emerging organizations that are maybe just getting started. Maybe they don't have a balance sheet, so we can offer them access to resources where they can learn how to do those kinds of things and get their house in order, if you will, so that when they come back the next time, if they are unsuccessful in this year's cycle, there are future opportunities for them as they continue to improve their efficiency and effectiveness.
They're all well-deserved. Some are larger than others.
Yes.
And ergo, they get maybe a little bit more money.
Yeah, we also have, we're always learning at the Community Foundation. And so this is only the second year of this Legacy Fund program. And so one of the things that we, as we started to move our grant making more localized than it already was, we realized that there are organizations that kind of don't fit in a box necessarily. Like, as an example, Community Action Council. They provide access to food for all of Chelan and Douglas counties. And so within Chelan and Douglas County, we have multiple legacy funds. And so how do you support or put Community Action Council only in the Wenatchee Valley when they're supporting Chelan, Cashmere, Upper Valley, Waterville, Mansfield? So we decided that we were going to do a regional pool. So we set aside a little bit of money out of our unrestricted funds that our local advisory boards are able to make a recommendation when they visit an organization that has an impact outside of their territory, if you will. They can recommend that back to the Board of Trustees of the Community Foundation, of which they have a pot of money, and they can allocate additional resources for those organizations that are covering a much larger footprint than some of our smaller organizations that are really localized.